In this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board Podcast, Sunday edition, James Barlowe is going to share his thoughts on Cooper Flagg, Kon Knueppel, Khaman Maluach, and some other Duke prospects because he was there in attendance, live scouting at the Duke SMU game on Saturday afternoon. Big shout out to each and every person that has made the Locked On NBA Big Board Podcast your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Rafael Barlowe, along with my co-host who happens to be my brother. And before we get too deep into this episode, I want to let you know that it is brought to you by FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel. And new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. Guaranteed win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Also, check out the Locked On newsletter at LockedOnDaily.com. Your favorite Locked On NBA podcast has a newsletter that will be delivered right to your inbox every day. Again, LockedOnDaily.com. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please subscribe, like, share, comment, click the bell so you can be notified every time we drop an episode. It is early in the morning, crack of dawn for me. I am still in Eugene, Oregon, where later on today I will be live scouting the Oregon versus Maryland game. So I'll get a chance to see one of James's favorite players, Derek Queen, live and in action. But speaking of live and in action, you were at the Duke SMU game yesterday.
Yes.
How was that experience? It looked like, just based off of what I saw on social media, it was a crowd that SMU is not normally used to. I mean, I seen Big X the Plug there. It was a sellout crowd. They had like a celebrity row. I think I saw Michael Parsons there.
Yeah, Big X the Plug, Michael Parsons. They said Derek Lively was there, but they really weren't trying to pan to him because, he's a Duke alum. And I think he had a big Duke jacket on.
Yeah, I saw he was there.
A couple other rappers were there. Sheldon Williams was there. Yeah, it was a big time event. I mean, SMU's got to do some catching up too, as far as like the talent, level in the ACC. But it's good for, I think, Dallas, just the basketball community. And I don't think it's going to be hard to move the program forward because like there's a lot of talent here. And now you're in the ACC, you're going to get Duke. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get North Carolina. So, but it was fun, man. I'm glad I had the opportunity to go and scout live and in person.
All right. So what were your thoughts on Cooper Flagg, seeing him live? Was this your first time seeing him live?
Yeah, this is my first time seeing him live. So, the measurements, again, I don't stand next to him and pull out my tape measure because that'd be kind of weird. But he looks every bit of 6'9". He's got big, broad shoulders. Duke, interesting enough, they had the guards come out first. So it was Tyrese Proctor, who looks every bit of 6'4". The point guard, I forget his name, is it
Caleb Foster?
Caleb Foster. I want to call him Roach for some reason. But Caleb Foster came out. Darren Harris, Kon Knueppel, they came out and they warmed up first. So, and then Isaiah Evans, that's where, if you were following me on Twitter, I just got a couple shots of the guys, going through their warm-up routine. And then, but Cooper wasn't out there. And then the bigs came out and then you saw Maluach and the rest of the Duke bigs. And then Cooper kind of came out on his own. I don't know if he does his own thing or maybe he was late. I don't know if he had to use the bathroom, but he didn't go through the same shooting routine as the guards, nor did he go through the same routine as the bigs. He kind of just had his own thing where he was getting up shots. And, the form, it looks fine to me. I know his shooting splits don't look the greatest prior to yesterday. Again, maybe yesterday helps it out some, but I think he's going to be a good shooter at the next level. Like I said, he just has good touch, and the misses look good. And I'm a big believer in free throw percentage and what your misses look like. If you're missing left and right and you're consistently short, then I think the hill is steeper to climb. But I think Flagg, for the most part, especially wide open, he's on target. And he shot the ball well yesterday. So I'm buying him. And as an improved shooter, he did some things that I did really like to see from him. But I think the handle yesterday was a bit sloppy.
Yeah.
You know, considering what I think he can become, which again I still think he can play small forward in the NBA. He Ralph, just trust me, dog. Listen, man, I ain't led you astray yet. He can get low to attack closeouts. He has small forward athleticism. The two dribble pull up was there. Like he just needs the handle has to get better, and mainly because the SMU big was switched on him a few times in the second half, and he was giving him space, giving Cooper Flagg space, but Flagg was still kind of like adamant on driving to the basket. And if he wants to become the next Kawhi Leonard, which I heard that's his favorite player, those are the pull-up jumpers you need to start taking. But he's a phenomenal prospect. Some fan in the crowd, because I was in the media row, I think Flagg had like 4 at the time. He missed a free throw. A fan yells, "You suck!" Flagg scored like 8 in a row because Moody's like small, right?
Yeah.
So like everybody heard him. Flagg scores 8 in a row. Pretty sure when he had that tip dunk in the first half, he pointed at the dude that yelled that he sucks. So Cooper Flagg he's an amazing talent, man.
Yeah, Cooper Flagg finished with 24 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 7 of 12 from the floor, made both of his 3-point attempts. So when I watched the film, I saw that he got to the foul line a lot. I think he was 8 of 8 from the foul line. The handle was a little sloppy to me.
Yeah.
But I really liked how Duke used him this game. I feel like the role that he played this game was a little bit different than the role he was playing at the beginning of the season. I mean, you were there, but is it me or did he have less ball handling responsibility as far as initiating the offense?
Well, he didn't initiate as much. I think it was more so a mindset thing because he was in attack mode early. It was it was almost like a hostile crowd. Like again, like Moody is really, really small, right? So you feel everything. Like the fans are literally on the court with you. So I think he was trying to make an imprint on the game early as far as just scoring, physical game, and he was getting to the line. And then as like the defense softened up, he started running the pick and roll with Maluach. I know he threw a lob to him. He had another one where Maluach, he missed a layup, but I think it was more so him just picking and choosing and kind of like saying, you know what, this is a road test. Let me go be aggressive right away, and then I'll decide to go try to be playmaker Cooper Flagg.
Yeah, I mean, I've said all along, I think that he should be used as a play finisher first, and then let everything that he brings to the table go from there. I don't like starting him off as like this point forward. I think he can do that, but I would like to see him established early as a scorer, as a role man, as a guy that exploits mismatches. You put a small on him, post him up, and then once he starts cooking, then once the doubles come, then allow the passing and stuff to take over. So I was impressed with how he was used because if I'm not mistaken, like the first shot he took was a ball screen where he was the roll man with Kon Knueppel. And I think he got fouled on that play. And so I think that he established himself early by being aggressive and attacking, getting to the foul line, and so on. All right, up next, I want to dig a little bit deeper into Flagg's performance. Then also want to talk about Kon Knueppel and Khaman Maluach. But let's talk about prize picks because basketball season is heating up and there is no better way to get real money action while watching your favorite NBA stars than with prize picks. Whether you are a diehard fan or you just love some friendly competition, Prize Picks makes it fun and easy to turn your basketball knowledge into cash. Here's how it works. Pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. If you think LeBron is going to drop 30 or maybe Luka's getting more than 8 assists, Prize Picks lets you make your prediction and you can put your money where your mouth is. I know James is really big on Prize Picks. He's been cashing in, making some money on Prize Picks. And now is the perfect time to join. Download the app today. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's right. No need to win. To get in the bonus, it's guaranteed. Prize Picks. Run your game. All right, second segment. So when I watched the film, again, I saw that he was aggressive, got to the line 8 times. He was making a jumper. He made his 3-pointers, which is something that, the critics. And here's the thing about this draft class, which is actually good, but it's kind of getting on my nerves in a sense, is that over the last 2 years, we haven't really had much of a debate who's number one. Now with this year's class, there's 3 prospects that people like, and it's like pick a side, take a hard stance, and we can see like the comments on the YouTube channel. It's like if I'm a big Cooper Flagg fan, then I just pick at the flaws of everyone else. If I'm a big Ace Bailey fan, then I say Cooper Flagg can't shoot. It's crazy. So on one hand, it's good for engagement purposes, but at the same time, man, people need to be objective, right? You can like Cooper Flagg and also like Dylan Harper. You can like Dylan Harper and also like Cooper Flagg. I mean,
my favorite player in the draft is probably either Queen or Fears, but I'm not like propping them up to be the number 1 or number 2 pick because they're my favorite. And I'm not saying, man, like enjoy basketball, man.
Yeah. And I mean, I get it. Like we did
It's like the Civil War, man.
Exactly. We did the episode with Ace Bailey, and a commenter under the name Duke Agenda that we were pop locking and beatboxing over his explosion, and then said that Ace Bailey is
Marquise
Chris with a Rutgers ID. I mean, that's the stuff like that. That's just so. Anyway, with that being said, I kind of went on a tangent. The people that were like anti Cooper in a sense that took a hard stance on whether it's Ace Bailey or Dylan Harper said that Flagg can't shoot. And I thought him making 2 of 2 from 3 and 8 of 8 from the foul line is a sign in the right direction. I mean, we don't have to hear that he's 17 anymore because he's 18. And I do think that the shot is improving so far as the season has went on. I mean, he looked really confident letting it fly yesterday against SMU. If there was one thing that really stood out to you about Flagg's game yesterday, what was it that caught your attention the most?
Physicality, man. Again, I know he's not 17 anymore, but he is a freshman, and like the physicality of the game, it doesn't bother him like at all. And SMU was physical. There was a play where he got his shot blocked, and I believe the center for SMU clearly grabbed his shirt. Huh?
Is that the one we kind of got in his face a little bit?
I just know he went to the basket. He got fouled. They call it a block, but like dude had his whole shirt, and he like Flagg wasn't really fazed by it. I mean, he I guess you could call him an animated player, but like he gets fouled, doesn't matter, goes to the basket, or whether they call it or not, like he's gonna get to the rack, and he's not afraid of the moment. Like I said, like that was probably the most impressive thing. Again, I think the jump shot is going to be fine. I think the jump shot is going to come along. I think the playmaking is good. The handle was just not good yesterday. He was fumbling the ball. Probably needed to be a little bit more creative. But I think those are things that he has. He just doesn't have the idea of when to like use them. But he was already number 1 on my board prior to yesterday's game. He's still number 1. I think just if you look at it like, in my opinion, if I think Cooper Flagg has Kawhi Leonard-like talent potential or the opportunity to be a scaled-down version of that. And if I think Dylan Harper could be like a James Harden-type player, scaled down, again, it's hard to compare top 75 guys to 18, 19-year-olds.
Yep.
I personally feel like you take the Kawhi-type player over the Harden-type player. But that could just be a matter of preference.
Yeah, I mean, people are going to point to their postseason resumes as the difference. But
I mean, you have to with those 2 guys because we're talking about 2 of the best players, of the past 25, 30 years.
Yep. As far as a handle, I felt like he was trying to wiggle a little bit. He was trying to dance. But one of the things I noticed was I didn't see a lot of spin moves.
He wasn't really attacking the middle. And that's another thing that even when I used to, when I was training a little homie that played college basketball, And I'm like, you can't attack middle in college basketball unless you're playing with like unreal talent, right? So like Jeremiah Fears in Oklahoma, when everything is working for them and they're spread out, he can attack middle. But I think Flagg kind of figured out like I have to make my moves going baseline because the middle of the floor, regardless of who you're playing with, most of the time is going to be clogged up in college basketball.
Yeah. Well, you know, all season long, and I feel like this was the first game that I really, and I could be wrong, but the first game where I'm like, he wasn't looking to rely on the spin move, either straight line, but he was trying, like I said, trying to dance a little bit. But overall, I thought he played good. But let's switch to
Real quick, Ralph. This is why I'm buying him as a small forward and a potential ball handler. They picked him up. I think he had a rebound in the first half. He got picked up full court, and it was a smaller guard, and he was turning Cooper, and Cooper handled it like perfectly, and the dude ended up fouling him. Like that is to me, even though it's small, is a positive sign as somebody who's going to be able to handle the ball in the future.
yeah, I think he's going to be able to handle the ball. I just think
I'm talking about handle the ball, not just dribble. Like
yeah,
I'm talking handle the
I
ball.
think he's going to be able to handle the ball in the future. But again, to me, he is a 4. But that's a whole different thing. But
You
let's
gonna
talk
lose.
about Kon Knueppel. Kon is a player that I know you're not seeing him as a lottery pick. And what are your thoughts on him?
He was actually he was really good yesterday. He had a couple fouls early. He had a switch out on I think it was Kevin Boopy Miller, a little lightning quick guard
That was at Wake
transfer
Forest
from
last
Wake
year.
Forest.
Yeah.
He was getting buckets, but Khan did a good job staying in front of him. But he picked up a couple other fouls. I still think defensively is going to be probably his biggest challenge, but he is their best passer in the half court. Like maybe he's their best passer in pick and roll. Like he
Yeah.
has chemistry with Maluach,
And
and
Flagg.
Flagg too. The
Yeah.
jump shot. I mean, I'm not concerned about him shooting the ball, but he can. He's really good in pick and roll in the sense that he's not ever going to be a primary ball handler. That's fine. I don't think he'll ever be a secondary ball handler. But if we're running like some second side action or think about how they used to use JJ Redick when he was in with the Clippers, right? He used to get those assists where you had to double him on those dribble handoffs because he would raise up and shoot. I think Khan is going to be a good, I guess, tertiary playmaker, right? But I just can't draft him in the lottery because I do think he does have some defensive limitations. And while he does find a way to get to the basket, it's not going to be, I don't think it's a lottery level of talent as far as just the totality of everything. Shooting the ball, yes. But the totality of everything, I don't have him in the lottery. I think 15 to 20 would be perfectly fine for him. But he's also a big dude in person, too. He's every bit of 6'7".
Yeah, so he's I'm kind of torn on him. Like initially right now I'd say he's not a lottery pick. But then when I started working on a mock draft, and I do my mock drafts a little different. I mean, obviously I try to slot the best players, but then I also think about fit in the mock. And some people say you shouldn't even think about fit. It should just be the best player available. But I also like to think about how would this guy fit with this particular team? Simply because, if it's, I don't know if it's the Pistons, I'm not going to draft another athletic 3 that can't shoot, even if the Pistons are, the number, let's say 5, which I mean they're not right now, but
Listen,
they're like,
this is probably gonna make the playoffs, man.
yeah. If the Pistons are picking at number 5, which isn't that the pick they pick like every year, but
Every year.
if the Pistons at number 5 and there is VJ Edgecombe available and VJ Edgecombe is like the 5th best player, I'm not gonna slot him to the Pistons because to me that just doesn't make sense. So I always like to try to think about fit. And so once I start thinking about fit, I'm like, there are a lot of teams that could use Khan, a guy that can shoot,
for sure.
and a guy that is going to just be solid. And one of the things that he does very, very well is pass and take care of the ball. He has 39 assists and only 13 turnovers. Like, he's a smart decision maker. And if the shooting pans out, then he is like your ideal complementary piece to, your Cade Cunningham or whoever, like I can't think of some teams right now that aren't in the playoffs that have their dude already.
Mhm.
But if you're a team that already has your franchise piece and you're not a playoff team, I think Kon is a good complementary piece. All right, up next, we're going to talk about Khaman Maluach and Tyrese Proctor and Isaiah Evans. But before we get into the last segment, let's talk about FanDuel. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel because right now, new customers, if you are a new customer, you can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same game parlays, and so much more. So just visit fanduel.com to join today. You can get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's fanduel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, the official sports book partner of the NFL. All right. Before we switch over, I want to get back to Kon Knueppel. You say you have him in your 15 to 20 range.
Yes.
Do you think he can creep up in the lottery range? Let's say that, right now the 3-point shooting is good, maybe not as good as people thought it would be, as he's shooting 34% from 3 on 6 attempts per game. Let's say he gets it up to 38, 39, 40% on the same amount of attempts. Could that push him in the lottery for you?
I would say no.
Okay.
There's still a couple other guys that I tend to value better. And if we're looking for like even the same type of player, and I'm not trying to make it a complexion thing, I think Liam McNeely is a better version of him or could do the same thing as him. He may not be the pick and roll passer, but as far as like connective passing, Liam does that very well. I believe he's shooting the ball better from three. I think he's a bit bigger. I think defensively, he'll probably be a little bit better, going to rebound better. It's just kind of maybe a preference thing for between the two of those guys as far as like your spot up shooter guy that can pass, just ultimate role player. I also think that you got to still look at the rise of Ian Jackson. I know passing is a foreign language to him, but he might be the best shooter in this draft. And he gets to it. He does have some things he needs to. I mean, everybody has some things he needs to work on. I still like Dink Pate. Again, we talking about 6'8", 6'9". He's shooting the ball well still, and he's playing well. So, 15 is fine. And really, the most important thing, I know we do it because this is what we do as far as making big boards and content creating and all that cool stuff. But the most important thing for these guys is to be in the right situation, because whether you're drafted third or like Reed Shepard or 16 wherever Jared McCain was drafted, you want an opportunity to play, and that's the most important thing. So, but guys like Liam, uh, guys like Kon, I think they'll have opportunities because they can knock down shots and they do those other things. They're not necessarily like in positionless basketball today. They can just lock in and play off of somebody. So, but I think 15 to 20 is pretty much fair for Kon.
What's interesting is that ESPN has Liam at 6'7", 210 and Kon at 6'7", 217. So
I haven't seen Liam in person in a while, not since he was a younger dude. But Kon is like huskier, even though Liam is a big dude. But I think Liam is probably going to end up being more of like a 4 in today's NBA, whereas Kon probably a 3. But again, it may just be a preference thing. But I feel like I really like, and I'm not saying that Kon doesn't compete, but I really like Liam's like competitive fire that he brings every game.
I think I would go if they were tied and everything else, but one was a better passer out of ball screens. I think that's who I would go with as far as offensively.
But here's the thing, though: how often are you running the ball screen for Kon Knueppel, though? Because again, if Kon Knueppel is running the ball screen, right? I know he's not going to beat me off the dribble, right? I know he's not going to back my big up and switch or sauce him up. So I'm just going to switch that screen. Like I'm just going to dead that off the middle. Like I don't feel like even he's not beating Vucevic off the dribble. You know what I'm saying? Like he's an average athlete. So I'm not worried about. I think his passing will be off of dribble handoffs, where if he like speeds up the release and is able to knock it down. But as far as I'm not running no ball, I'm not afraid of a ball screen for him in a sense that I don't think he's going to be able to. Yeah, he's just not going to beat me 1-on-1.
I mean, it's not going to be your primary play. But anyway, all right, let's talk about Khaman Maluach. He had a solid performance. What were your thoughts on Maluach's game? Seeing him in person, because that was your first time seeing it. No, we saw him
No,
at
I saw him in Basketball Without Borders.
Basketball Without Borders. What did you think of him overall? I mean, he had 8 points, 8 rebounds, 4 or 5 from the floor. It was,
It was a Maluach game.
yeah, it's the stat line. Not going to miss many shots.
His reaction time, like he had a big block in the first half, like knocked the dude shot back to half court. But his post defense, I think you can get him.
Is it lack of strength?
I think it might be a lack of. I think he reacts better in weak side than he does when he has to guard his man 1-on-1, right? So in a sense that in a weak side shot block, I know exactly what's coming. It's a quick decision, right? Guard goes up to the basket, he jumps in the air, I block it. But when you give him a couple back downs, I think that he doesn't know how to guard as well as he does in weak side. Because again, if he's and I know the NBA is in a lot of post up play, but there is. So if you post him up, I think like he just doesn't have the timing, the defensive IQ yet to defend on the block. But again, the weak side, that's fine. But also another thing with maybe I guess you could say his defensive IQ. And again, I'm saying that not as a negative. I'm saying that because he's young, but like he gets a lot of goaltends. And I know this isn't the Patrick Ewing days where you smack the dude's shot. I'm talking about Patrick Ewing at Georgetown, Rafa. He blocked the dude's shot out of bounds on purpose to like scare you. Yeah. Like I'm not buying that stuff anymore. Like you're giving up free points. I think he had at least 2 goaltends yesterday, and I've seen him do it in the past. So it's like you can't give up points. You know what I'm saying? And I wonder if he just like sometimes you just got to be vertical. You don't got to block everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah, he's still raw. I mean, we knew he's going to be raw. His production is about where I would expected it to be. 8 points, 5 rebounds, 78% from the floor. He's averaging now. The part I am shocked about is that he's averaging just 1 block a game.
It's only one.
It's only 1 block per game. 1.1 to be exact. I thought he would be a much more dominant like rim protector. Now, even though like you can be a dominant rim protector and not have a lot of blocks, but yeah, I'm actually shocked that they have him listed as with only 15 blocks all season.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Tyrese Proctor?
Tyrese Proctor is exactly what I thought he was the first time I saw him. First started covering him with last year. I think he is great off the ball, or he'll be his best off the ball. He can run some pick and roll, but I think him being a floor spacer guy that you play with other star wings, that's what he is automatically. And I like him in the sense that because I feel like I understand who he is. I know he had that run last year and he was tricking you. And a couple other people were out.
That was his freshman year. That was his freshman year. This is junior year.
Freshman year? Okay. Yes, freshman year. I'm sorry. He was tricking people, but he's still kind of like the same player. And the main thing that I did see in researching him before was that even when he was playing for Team Australia, he was off the ball. But again, that's his best role. That's fine. Like make your money playing off the ball. Jump shot looked good. He got hot. I think he had 8 real quick. But it was 2 catch and shoot threes. He did have a pick and roll where he had a nice change of pace, but I don't think that's something that he does all the time. And there's little like nuanced things like when he goes left, he passes with his right hand still, right? And like that's, I guess you could say, a red flag to me as far as like a lead ball handler, which I don't think he is. So like he goes left, and then the driving kick in the left, driving kick corner on the left side, he still is putting 2 hands on the ball to pass the ball. And again, that's something that can be fixed, but I just don't think that he's a primary ball handler.
Yeah, I thought he was. He still's not getting to the foul line.
No, that's not going to happen.
Like his third year. And actually, I mean, just statistically, the free throw attempts go down every year from 1.9 as a freshman to 1.5 as a sophomore to 1.4 this year. But he is shooting the ball very well, 41% from three on 6 attempts per game. And he made, is he like 4 of 7 from three yesterday?
Got a burner.
I like him. I wonder is there a situation where he leaves Duke and then we start seeing the shot creation flashes that we saw as a freshman? Because if you go back and look at that Tennessee game, like you don't lose that. Like you don't lose the shot creation that he showed that game and the flashes he showed as a freshman. So
I think he is a second round pick unless he puts up like Cam Jones or Marquette, where you just totally, completely change your game.
He won't have the opportunity though, because he's not going to have the usage. But my thing is, I think he's going to be a second round pick. But I wonder, like, once he leaves Duke, are we going to see the shot creation that we saw flashes of as a freshman when they needed him, when he was like the only one that could like create his own shot? But we haven't really seen that.
I just think his money is going to be made catching and shooting and being a combo guard that, in a sense where if I do need to run a pick and roll, I can make the right play. I'm not super dynamic in pick and roll, but if I come off a pick and roll and you go underneath the screen, I can shoot. But ultimately, I'm going to play off of, like, let's say he's a second round pick of the Pistons, since we brought them up. I can play next to Cade. Cade's going to do all the dirty work. I can shoot. But if Cade does need to come off the ball, I can run the offense in a sense there. I just think that that's where his money is going to be.
I think so too. I'm just saying, like, my question is, once he gets to that next level, are we going to be like, there goes the stuff that I saw as a freshman? All right. Isaiah Evans didn't have the best game statistically. He is playing. At least he is getting some time. He was 1 of 4. I mean, he was 1 of 4 yesterday, played 10 minutes. And then Caleb Foster had a really good game. He played 17 minutes. He was 4 of 6 from the floor, had 9 points. At least he had a good game statistically. What are your thoughts on both of them wrapping up?
Isaiah Evans is about 3-4 bricks short of making a real impact. He's skinny, man. Like Matt Cross from SMU didn't beat him off the dribble. He bullied him off the dribble. He got yanked quickly. But I do like him. I'm interested to see if he comes back or transfers or enters the portal because, again, he is 6'8". He's just super, super skinny. And
ESPN has been listed at 6'6". You think he's really 6'8"?
6'7", 6. It's just he's skinny. And he's built – I don't want to call him built funny, but, like, he doesn't have, like, a long neck, if that makes sense, right? He's like shoulders, little neck, head. But –
So you call him Benzino?
No, I'm not calling him. Benzino has no neck. I just wonder if he tests at all, just because he got put into a corner boy role when he came to Duke as a scorer. But ultimately, the corner boy role is probably what's best for him because he can shoot the ball. And as far as Caleb Foster, he shot the ball well. He's gonna have a long career playing overseas. To me.
Well, that wraps up this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast. This will not be our last episode from the Locked On NBA Big Board crew. This weekend, Leif Thulin is going to be on, and then I will be probably tomorrow, probably Monday, just because I'm in Eugene. After the game is over, I got a 2-hour ride to Portland. Then I got a late night flight. I get home Monday morning, but I'll share my thoughts on live scouting Oregon versus Maryland. Once again, thank you for making the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast your first listen of the day. Check out the Locked On newsletter at lockedondaily.com. And we are out of here.